Hello and welcome to Gabbett Media, I'm Huion Kamvas, and today we're looking at the results of the moon landing competition. There's been loads of entries, loads of really good entries, and it's going to be a bit quicker this time. I'll spend less time analysing your pieces. But without further ado, let's take a look. So the first one is from Chemical Artistry. This is a nice piece of work. So we've got the moon and we've got some nice sort of spaceships. I'd like more focus on the spaceships, I think, because they look pretty interesting, but it's hard to make out from here. Nice piece of work. I'd also like a bit more work on the background. They're sort of a bit strange, the stars. They're a bit splodgy. Maybe it's thinking about sort of depth of field and out of focus, but they just look a bit splodgy at the moment. Nice piece of work though. I like the textures on the moon, and the spaceships look really interesting. I think we've got more of those, haven't we? Yes, here's another one. So these sort of spaceshipy things look really fascinating. Again, I'd like a bit more focus on them, but I can see why you've gone for this sort of big text. I like the font as well, that's quite nice. Excellent work. Now we've got one from Sister M. Nice idea with it looks like a dog in space. Difficult to tell with the space helmet. Space helmet? Whatever it's called. And we've got a lot of depth of field and chromatic aberration in the background. Very nice. The textures on the moon could possibly do with a bit of work because it was difficult to tell what this was. It's a lot darker than the other bits, so maybe increase the tile size of the texture of the moon would help. I like the sort of purple spark that's happening here. There's lots of energy to this shot. It looks really great. Now we've got Hippotomonstrophobia. Excellent work here as well. I like the studio idea, that makes a lot of sense. Although I have seen a really great video about the most difficult thing about faking the moon landings would have been actually televising it. That would have been almost, well, absolutely impossible. So an interesting one, worth looking up. Maybe I'll try and remember to put the link in the description. Anyway, studio, I like it. This is working nicely, lots of atmosphere. I like the background. I think the boxes, try and get them a little bit less uniform, so rotate them around a bit and maybe stack them on top of each other. The texture at the bottom here looks really sharp, so maybe adding a displacement map to this might have helped, but really nice. I like that. Lots of atmosphere again. This is a really nice one from I Need Help with WOV coding. Nice work with the studio. I love the rocks, lovely, aren't they? They're really, really nice moon rocks there. The only problem is that they're so realistic that it highlights the fact that the rest isn't looking realistic. But maybe that's the thinking. They're real rocks, but really sort of fake spacecraft. I like the idea with the strings as well, or wires, I should say. Strings would be tricky to carry an astronaut. But this is really nice, nicely set up, nicely laid out. I'd go increase your resolution on things like this just because it's sort of very obvious, those sort of cuts there. So yeah, increase the resolution where you need to. Very nice work. This one's from Yezza. And this one is, what's it called, non-destructive sort of procedural generation. I'm trying to think of the words for it. What's his name? My words have lost me now. Has done some really good videos on it. I'll try and put a link in the description. But creating models through sort of procedural generation, so it's non-destructive and you can sort of adapt them and change them. Really nice result there as well. So looking really good. Yeah, fantastic. I like the moon texture as well. I think NASA has some moon textures, doesn't it? Which I probably should have said at the beginning of the competition. So you might have got them from there because they're really high resolution and really great. But looks really good. The only thing is, watch these sort of things. So you've got the edge of the rocket here and the edge of the moon, which is curved, and they sort of blend into each other. So if you'd moved the rocket this way a bit, that would have cut that out and then would have more of a silhouette of the rocket. Might have been nice. It's good work though. Oh, this one is very atmospheric. I like this a lot. That's a really nice composition, isn't it? So the Earth in the background with a glow to it. So we've got the sun coming from the right direction, giving it that nice sort of glow. Although it might be sort of maybe unrealistic in some ways, but it looks really realistic. Sometimes you fake things to make them look more real than real. And the depth of field looks just really nice. We've got it focused in on this rocket, of course, but it's with this sort of fog and particle system here. Looks very nice with the smoke, and the materials are looking really good. The bloom is just right. In fact, it's not bloom, it's that sort of motion, was it radial glow or something, isn't it? Motion glow or whatever it's called. But it's glare, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm not doing very well with words this morning. But yeah, it's better than the bloom, which is nice because the bloom you can just click a button, but with this you've got to set up some nodes, and it looks really nice though. It's got a great feel about it, this one. So that's from Crapzone, or Craps One, it depends how you want to say it. This one is from Howling Cow, and this is George Millais, I think you call him, one of the first videographers really, and the first person to do sort of animation and stop motion ideas and things. Very clever stuff, and this is a really nice homage to that. It's almost perfect really, isn't it? I feel like the eyebrows are a bit weird, but I can't remember off the top of my head what the original image looked like, and it might have been like that because it was a really sort of naff sort of model, but it looked quite good. I mean, this is great, isn't it? Textures are good, and the depth of field looks nice. I love it. That's very nice work. This one's got lots of votes on the community. It's again from Crapzone or Craps One, and it's got a really nice look to it, hasn't it? Same model. We've got a different character this time. A really nicely made character. It does look good with this sort of shading, I suppose. I really like this. I can see why it's got lots of votes, and it's got a really nice feel to it. It'd be interesting to know your materials and rendering methods. Really, really great. I think, do you know, maybe just me, the composition, I feel like there's there's a big gap over here, which doesn't work for me. I'd have cut the picture off, somewhere around here maybe, or move the rocket over slightly. But I mean, it depends. You could argue that it's more interesting in the centre, but I'm just the classic sort of rule of thirds type of person. These textures and everything look really great. Absolutely love this, so well done. This is a nice idea from Adranor. So we've got a footstep of a astronaut. Yes, I like this a lot. Nice simplicity, but really well done. Perhaps a tiny few stars in the background might have been nice, but knowing the pictures, that they are, well, they're not so bright in the pictures as they are in some of ours, in some of our work on here, but a few stars would have been nice. And I think smooth shading on your footstep would have been good. So right click in Blender 2.8, smooth shading. This is a nice one from Penguino Logic. Very nice thinking. This is aliens faking the Earth landings. Clever twist. The texture's really interesting, this sort of swirly texture like this, and then there's a swirl over here. Is that procedurally made with sort of waves or something? Very unusual. I like the spaceship and the studio and the little house. Great fun. I think there's another one rendered with cycles, which is quite interesting to see the difference. I just sort of flick through. The major difference, I would say, is probably in the shadows, isn't it? You've got nice shadows in cycles, and it does a really good job, but then there's loads of noise that we have to deal with. So denoise would probably help with this one, but it can leave it a bit blotchy. Also a bit of smooth shading on here. I suppose you're probably going for the grass effect, so I can see why you might have left that flat. But maybe on the spaceship, smooth shading. Nice work. This one's from Eric85, and we've got a weird Loch Ness monster, is it? Landing on the moon in a hot air parachute. It's all going on with this one. I like the texture for the sort of muddy texture. That's really nice. It feels a bit blobby for the moon, so sort of cloud type of displacement, but probably a bit too much if we're looking at where's the other one? That's a sort of more of a moon surface that we'd expect to see. This one's a bit too lumpy, but then there's a bit of fun to it because it is cartoony, isn't it? Obviously, I like the Earth as well in the background. Working really nicely, this one, and nicely modelled character in his hot air parachute thing. This one's great fun. This is from Maffa, and it's a great idea and really well executed as well. We've got a lovely sort of design of the rocket. Our Lego man looks just like a Lego man, basically. Really fantastic work. I like the glow on the edge of the rocket as well. So we've got the sort of like the moonlight coming from this direction, but we've also got the lighting from the sparks here. I think the only thing that lets it down is the grass. It's very difficult with organic objects and especially particle systems because you have to repeat them. But I feel like it needs a bit more depth because it just goes a bit I suppose sort of see-through-y around here. See-through, that's a dreadful word. Not doing well today with the words, but a bit more thickness and depth to the grass just down here, so we feel like we're sort of looking up at the moon and it fades away, just to give it a bit more oomph. But that's a really minor point on a really excellent project. One of my favourites, definitely. Here's a nice one from K9 Delta, and of course we've got the reflection, good use of reflections, and nicely put together. Nice composition as well. I feel like it's just these edges here don't quite look right to me. It's something in the lighting. We've got it's sort of very soft around these bits, and you'd expect it to be very harsh lighting from the sun on the moon because there's sort of no atmosphere. So yeah, it's lacking depth, but it's something that's really, really tough, is to sort of get that look with reflections as well. With an HDRI, it's very tough. So it's not a criticism, it's just what's lacking slightly. Nice piece of work though, really great. This one's from Mr. Squid. I like the low poly work, it looks really nice. Yeah, looking really good. I like the solar panels, the flag, and the depth of field. Gives it that real feeling of depth, obviously. Looks really great. Yeah, I like that one a lot. And then we've got, yes, this is Frank Prebin with the delightful clangers. So this was the first one. I think there's another one, isn't there? Yeah, there we go. So this is sort of zoomed in because I thought the clangers looked really great. They've got a bit of a weird glow to them, haven't they? But I think they look great fun, and some cool signs there. I'm so angry I made a sign. Buzz off Aldrin. Clever stuff. I think it's just this texture here that I was saying the texture looks a teeny bit distorted in places around here. It's a tough one, isn't it? With the bump, and then there was issues with the shadow on the bump or something like that. I think was problematic. I love this in the background, this sort of sun emerging there, which makes it really tough because really these would be silhouetted, and I think that's the difficulty that Frank was having. But I love the idea of the clangers being a bit upset about the moon landings. Do I prefer this one or this one? I don't know. It's certainly one of my favourites, this. In with a shout, once again, Frank, well done. Now we've got one from Victor Changa. There we go. And this is the moon landing on the Earth. A very literal take. This is quite interesting with the light going up here. I like that. Possibly a touch more work needed on the forest and the textures in the background. But I really like it. The moon texture is lovely. It's got this nice glow to it. There's a sort of emission underneath, and the parachute looks good fun. Although it looks very flat. There's no shading to it for some reason. I'm not sure quite why that's happened. But yeah, really nice work, nice idea, and well executed. This is a fun one from Philippe Le Pilot. I'm always pronouncing names wrong. Do apologise. Enters all the time and I still get his name wrong all the time. Really nice work. There's a nice bit of atmosphere for the Earth this time. So really thinking about the textures. Excellent. Love the simplicity of the rocket. Looks fun, doesn't it? I suppose the only thing is with the simplicity of this rocket and then the Earth being very sort of realistic. I said this before. It's a sort of it's very sort of contrapuntal, I think the word is. They sort of clash against each other. Very nice though. Nice work. Love it. Oh, just skipped one there. Skipped a really good one as well. This is from Warwolf, and this is really cool, isn't it? It's just a really cool looking image. This is the moon landing on the rover. What's it called? The lander. I can't remember what it's got a sort of name, a proper name, the lander, the moon lander, whatever it is. And this looks awesome, doesn't it? I love the background, although it's sort of very fake in a sense. But that's what I mean about giving it that fakery that looks better than real in a way. Love the particle systems with the depth of field. It's looking so cool. The expression really gives it light and energy. Oh, it's great stuff, isn't it? Love it. Yeah, they're really, really great. Brilliant work. And this one's from Nurul Imran, and this is the crash moon landings. I like the particle system. It's a bit strange here, isn't it, how the smoke sort of goes in a line. Sometimes it's worth just taking a different frame if the smoke doesn't look quite right. But good fun. I'd like to see more debris maybe of our rocket or a lander. The moon surface is lovely. I like that, although possibly a little bit lumpy, but really nice. Maybe something in the sky as well. We've got a bit of atmosphere, haven't we, which doesn't exist on the moon, so perhaps some stars and things. Really nice work though. This one is from Adnan Edits. This is a nice clean render, isn't it? I like this. It's just works nicely, doesn't it? This bit is a bit strange. It sort of sticks out, but I mean that's probably from your reference images, so I'll assume that's supposed to be there. But it looks really great, doesn't it? It looks a tiny bit sharp in places, so really angular, so maybe, which is really difficult when you're doing very hard surface models, to give them that sort of non-digital look, which is sort of very harsh, hard edges. So breaking things up, maybe not making them so uniform, so just changing these really slightly so they're not so uniform. Nice work though, really looks good, that one. And this is a nice time to do some symmetry, isn't it? It just sort of works. Now we've got Janko 001. This looks fun, doesn't it? Sort of a moon base with a weird alien creature. I feel like the alien creature is very grey, and in fact the image itself is a little flat. Think about where your lighting's coming from, and maybe we could have had, like Frank's was very nice with a sort of glow of a moon, the sun coming out from behind the Earth. So maybe thinking about some clever lighting here. You've got a little bit going on around here which helps, but it looks a bit flat and we lack depth. So the moon kind of, sorry, not the moon, what's that? That's the Earth. So the Earth kind of looks very close because everything's the same tone. So watching out for that. But really nice work, love the idea. And it's quite a nice idea putting this slightly on the cant here, so slightly on an angle. This is a nice one from Nurul Imran again. This is that was Janko 001, but we've had one from Nurul Imran, haven't we? Yep, and I like that. That's a lovely texture, that is, isn't it? Is that actually a photo in the background? Because that looks lovely. I suppose that's again the problem. We've got very sort of boxy, cartoony, like low poly type spaceship here, and then the moon looks very real. So again, they clash a little, but it's good fun. I like the spaceship and the design. Oh, this one looks good. This is Zin, GHB Zin. I like the idea. I like the overlay of the photo. Good thinking. So is this straight from a reference? It does look so familiar. Yeah, I suppose the only thing is the texture. They look a bit sort of blobby rather than sharp in areas. This is some loads of work gone into this astronaut. Really nice. It's just that sort of blobbiness to the textures a little bit around here, sort of thing. But it's I like it. Excellent work, and I love the shine of all the metals. Here's one from Incredibles. I like these names. This is quite interesting. So we've got it on the surface of something, and then there's the moon in the background. I'm trying to think why that is. I'd rather see it on the moon surface, personally. But it looks cool. A really nice model. It's got lots going on, lots of detail. It really does look like the moon landing rocket thing. I'm desperately trying to think what it's called, but I'm forgetting. And a nice moon image in the background there. Excellent work. So we've got Green Lucid. I think this is our last one. And we've got a sort of steampunk moon landings. This is great, isn't it? God, there's lots of effort gone into this as well. Love these materials. This bronze, rusty bronze material looks really great, doesn't it? And Blender's landed on the moon. I like that. I only just noticed that. That's really great. Yeah, really, really nice work here. Very clever. I think it's the materials that really work nicely. I feel like the poses look a little bit awkward, but then I suppose they have got very bronze spacesuits, so it might be tough to move. And maybe this, these are minor points. These our crystal here is could do with the glow, maybe, or something like that. Really good fun. Love it. Okay, so it's time to pick a winner, isn't it? It's always really gets so tough at these points. We've got lots of entries today as well. Let's just quickly scrub through. That's a very nice one there. And, oh, good one there. God, there's lots of great ones, isn't there? That's definitely in with a shout. Just looks so fun, doesn't it? It's that sort of cartooniness that has so much energy. So Warwolf is definitely in with a shout. Nice ones there. Frank looking good. I don't think it's quite as good as Warwolf's, I'm afraid. So he's just one edged one again. Got one up on you. Sorry. Well, I want to do some cuts here, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave my mistakes in. Oh yes, it's good stuff, Frank. This one's good as well from Mr. Squid. I suppose it's a little bit simplistic compared to the other ones, but it's really nice composition. We got, oh, this one's definitely with a shout. Maffa as well. So we've got Maffa and Warwolf competing against each other at the moment. It's very close there. Nice work. Love the aliens landing on faking the Earth landings. I do like this one in terms of the idea, but I think it's just not realised as well as the others. Oh, this one's in with a shout, isn't it? This is Crap Zone or Craps One or whatever you want to call yourself. This is very nice. Yep. Very good. I like this as a homage. It just looks very similar to the original, so it's a very nice homage. So that's in with a shout for me. This one's good as well. Oh, this is going to be tough, isn't it? I like this one, but I don't think it's quite realised as well as the others. That's a good fun one. There's some really nice stuff, isn't it? Okay, so we have got Crap Zone there, Howling Cow, Crap Zone again. Oh, that's good, isn't it? And then we got Maffa and Frank, although not quite as good as the others. And Warwolf. Is there another one? I think that's the contenders. This is a nice one, but it's not as good as the others. This is good fun, but I don't think it's quite. It is close, but it's not quite as well realised as some of the others. So I very tempted with this one. Very tempted. Just quickly going to go back to this one here. I think it's, for me, it's between these two. I keep going through them all. I'm going to just get them up so I don't keep scrolling through. So there's this one. Yeah. And then there's... Where's that little rocket? Little rocket, where are you? There you are. Bring that across, so there. And then there is Warwolf. Make that a bit smaller. About there. Sort these all out. Maybe I should do some jump cuts here, really. And I think then there's two from Crap Zone, isn't there? Just there. So it's on my other monitor at the moment. Bring that across. There's that one as well. And the last one that I think is in with a shout is the Howling Cow. I do like this, but I think I prefer the other ones. There's just something about them. So it's now down to Crap Zone, Maffa, and Warwolf. Very tough, very tough. This one, I love the feeling and atmosphere of this. I like the feeling and atmosphere of this as well. I love the render. It's just a nice piece of art, isn't it? And I love the sort of energy of these two. Well, the energy of this one is great, and the sort of vision of this one. Oh, this is really frustrating. It's very difficult to decide, so I'm just going to have to pick one. I think for me... Oh dear. Oh, that is really tough. Sorry about the over-dramatic weight. I should really decide and look at these beforehand and then that wouldn't be such a long wait. I'm really tempted to go for this, but I want this one. I don't know. Do you know, I'm going to go for Warwolf. I am going to go for Warwolf. It's just that the energy that this has just beaten these ones. But I think that's very much a personal thing, because these are brilliant pieces as well. But well done to Warwolf. You are today's winner. So really well done to every single competitor that took part. I was very impressed. There were some wonderful pieces. Really well done to Warwolf, of course, for winning. I think there may be some disagreements with me there, but it's just the one that had the most energy and that I got the feeling of the winner from. Anyway, I haven't decided on the next competition. There's some good suggestions, so I am looking at those and I'll decide in a couple of days. But until then, well done to everybody and keep creating. I'll see you next time.